Her name is Candice. She has been at the company for 8 months. Same role as you, same title, same floor. She sits close enough that you can hear her on calls. You have covered for each other twice. You split a cab once after the company event in November when the train stopped running. You find out what Candice makes on a Tuesday. Not because she told you, because she left a tab open on the shared monitor in the conference room, and you were not looking for it, and then you were looking at it, and the number was there, and the number was $47,200, and your number is $38,000. You close the tab. You go back to your desk. You do not say anything to Candace. You do not say anything to anyone. You sit with $9,200. That is the distance, not in total compensation, not in bonus, in base salary. For the same work, on the same floor, in the same role, 8 months apart. You have been here 14 months. You go home that night and you do the math on $9,200 compounded forward at 3% annual raises, and the number at the end of 10 years is not $9,200. It is $23,400. That is the cost of the information you did not have when you accepted the offer. This is not the first paycheck lie. This is the second one. The first one you already knew. The first lie arrived on payday. You are 22. Your salary is $38,000. That is what the offer letter said. That is what you told your parents. $38,000 a year. What you have is not $38,000. After federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare, health insurance, and the 3% 401k contribution your manager told you to enroll in on day one, your salary lands as $2,190 every 2 weeks. That is $28,470 a year in your account. The lie is the distance between $38,000 and $28,470, and the fact that nobody explains it before you need to live inside it. Your fixed costs? Rent $840. Student loan $412. Car insurance $187. Utilities $94. Phone $67. You have $340 left. You do not go out on Fridays. Not because you are disciplined, because $340 has to last until the 15th, and it is the 3rd, and something always comes before the 15th. The first rule: gross salary is a fiction. The number that matters is what clears after everything that clears before it. Nobody teaches you this before you need to know it. The offer letter gives you the gross because the gross is the larger number, and the larger number is how you are recruited. This is not an accident. You cut the streaming service. You save $14.99 a month. You feel briefly virtuous. Then the $14.99 does not appear anywhere meaningful because $14.99 in a life that costs $1,850 a month to sustain is not the variable. You could cut every optional expense you have, and the math does not change enough to matter. At $38,000, optimization is not the lever. It is the illusion of the lever. Month 7. Your car needs tires. $680 installed. You do not have $680. You have $214. You put the difference on a credit card at 22.99% APR. You tell yourself you will pay it off next month. You pay the minimum. The balance sits. The interest runs. You will pay $214 in interest on those tires. That number goes into you and stays. Not as a regret, as information. It costs $214 to not have $680 when you need it. You file that. You will not forget it. This is not a failure. This is what this income level costs. Everyone at $38,000 has a version of this story. The transmission, the medical bill, the deposit on the new apartment when the lease did not renew. Something always comes. And when something comes at this level, the card goes up. That is the math, not the character. Back to Candice. You do not confront her. You do not resent her. You ask her, 3 weeks later, casually, how she got the offer, not the salary, the offer, the conversation. She tells you she had another offer at $44,000 and she told them, and they matched it and added $3,000 to close. She had another offer. You did not have another offer. You had one offer and you took it because it was there. and you had $31,400 in student loans, and the idea of negotiating felt like the idea of asking someone to like you more, and you did not know how to separate the two. This is the second lie. Not that the salary was wrong, that the salary was an opening position and you treated it as a final offer, and nobody corrected you because it was not their job to correct you. 68% of people in their first job do not negotiate the offer. The average first job salary loss from not negotiating is $7,400 a year. At a 3% annual raise, that gap does not close. It compounds in the wrong direction. Every raise is a percentage of the base. If the base is wrong, the raises are wrong, and the wrong number runs for as long as you stay. The second rule: the offer is not the number. The offer is the start of a conversation that most people end before it begins. The discomfort of asking is real. The cost of not asking is also real. One of those costs is paid once. The other is paid every 2 weeks for the duration of your employment, and you never see the invoice. You are 25. Your salary is $52,000, not from a raise, from a job change. Your manager at the first job was a man named Greg. Greg was not a bad person. Greg managed upward and not much else. You watched Greg for 22 months and understood that this particular ceiling was made of Greg and was not going to move. You left. The new job is $52,000. Same industry, different building. You negotiated this time. You had one other offer, a real one, $48,000, that you were genuinely willing to take. And you told them. They came to $49,500. You said you needed $52,000 to make the move. They came to $52,000. Your palms were wet the entire conversation. After tax and deductions, $52,000 lands as $2,890 every 2 weeks. This is $700 more per month than before. You feel the difference immediately. Not rich, just less tight. The specific sensation of a month ending with money still in the account. You move $200 to a high-yield savings account. Automated. The day after every payday. You do not look at it. You increase the 401k to 5%. Employer matches 4. You are not leaving free money on the table anymore. You understand this now in a way you did not at 22. The understanding arrived somewhere between month 9 and month 14 at the first job when you calculated 2 years of leaving $1,800 a year on the table, and the number was $3,600, and it sat in you the way the Candice number had sat in you. Numbers like that do not leave. They change how you move. There is a third lie at this level: the raise, your annual review at the new company, strong performance, clear feedback, 3.5% increase. You smile. You thank them. You do the math on the drive home. 3.5% of $52,000 is $1,820 a year. Before tax. After tax, it is approximately $1,183 a year. That is $98 a month. Your rent went up $75. Your health insurance premium went up $31 a month. Your real wage after adjusting for the actual cost of living this year moved approximately $8 a month forward. The raise felt like recognition. It was a maintenance payment dressed as recognition. The company was not lying to you. They were doing exactly what companies do. You were expecting something other than what companies do. Getting ahead requires the salary to move faster than the costs. The only mechanism that moves salary faster than costs is information and leverage. Information: knowing what the market pays for what you do. Leverage: having somewhere else to go. Raises inside a company average 3%. Offers from outside average 14.8%. You have known the Candice math for 3 years. You already know what this means. The third rule: loyalty is not a compensation strategy. The company is not disloyal when it pays the market rate. You are not disloyal when you leave for one. The relationship is an exchange. Price it correctly on both sides. You are 29. Your salary is $74,000, promoted twice. Title has the word senior in it. You manage 2 people. One of them is 23. She reminds you of yourself in a way you cannot look at directly. You tell her what nobody told you. The offer is not the number. Get another offer before you accept anything. Know what the market pays before you sit in the room. She writes it down. You hope she does it. Your take home is $4,180 a month. Fixed costs $2,640. You save $800 automatically. The 401k holds $34,200. Savings account holds $18,600. You opened a brokerage account at 27. It holds $9,400 in VTI. Total invested, $62,200. You feel, by most measures, fine. And then, on a Wednesday night, you open a spreadsheet and run the numbers honestly. Current salary, 3% annual raises, 35 more years. The number at the end is $1.4 million in retirement savings. You stare at it. It is enough. It is not what you thought. This is the fourth lie. The one that takes the longest to arrive and the longest to sit with. The path of salary plus raises plus savings plus time produces a real outcome. That outcome is comfortable and stable and fine and smaller than the version of this you had in your head when you were 22, and you thought the job was the beginning of something that kept growing. The job grows. It grows at 3%. Everything else grows faster. The assets grow faster. The market grows faster. The gap between salary income and capital income widens every year, and the only way to close it is to be on both sides of it simultaneously. The fourth rule: a salary is a ceiling dressed as a floor. The moment you can see it clearly, you cannot unsee it. The salary is not wrong. It is just not the whole structure. The whole structure includes something that runs while you work. Capital, a second stream. Something that does not stop when you stop. You close the spreadsheet, you open it again the next morning, the numbers have not changed, you open a second tab, you model a different version, same salary, same raises, but you add $500 a month into the brokerage starting today, and you add a side income of $800 a month starting in 2 years, and you reinvest all of it. The number at the end of that path is $2.3 million. The difference between $1.4 million and $2.3 million is not a better job. It is not a higher salary. It is $500 a month going into something that compounds independently of your labor, and $800 a month from something that runs without your presence. You start building the $800, not a second job, a productized version of something you already know. A problem you have already solved that other people still have. You work on it on Saturday mornings before anyone else is awake. You do not tell most people. You do not upgrade anything. You eat the same lunches. You drive the same car. Month 1, it makes $310. Month 4, it makes $740. Month 8, it makes $1,400. You reinvest everything. You are 33. Your salary is $96,000. You have moved twice since 29. Both times with competing offers, both times with wet palms and a number you said out loud anyway. Both times they came up, not all the way, far enough. The 401k holds $89,400. The brokerage holds $38,200. The side income account holds $22,700. In retained earnings you have not touched. Total invested, $150,300. The investments returned $10,500 last year without you doing anything. You sit with that for a moment. $10,500. That is more than you had left over in a month at 22 when the tires went on the credit card and the interest ran for 9 months. It arrived while you were in meetings, while you were managing the team, while you were doing the job that you also still have to do. 2 streams ran simultaneously. This is the thing. They ran simultaneously. You did not have to choose between them. You did not have to leave the job to build the other thing. You did not have to sacrifice the security to chase the growth. You ran them at the same time, and the compounding ran on both. You hire a financial planner, fee only. She finds a tax structure across the business, and your W-2 that saves you $6,200 in the first year. You renew before the first year ends. You think about Candice sometimes. Not with resentment, with something closer to gratitude. She did not know she was teaching you anything. She left a tab open. You looked at a number. You spent 15 years acting on what that number meant. The information was always there. It was just not distributed evenly. And somewhere right now there is a 22-year-old who just found out. Not from an offer letter, not from a payday, from a tab left open on a shared monitor, a number with a coworker's name attached to it, a number that is not their number and should be closer to their number, and the gap between the two has a name, and the name is negotiation, and they did not know it was available. They close the tab. They go back to their desk. They do not say anything. They sit with the number. If that number changes how they move, if it sends them to research what the market pays, if it gives them the language to have the conversation, if it costs them one uncomfortable phone call instead of $23,400, then the tab was the most valuable thing that happened to them at that company. The machine does not explain itself before you need it. The rules are not posted. They are learned, expensively, slowly, by everyone who eventually learns them. The people who learn them faster do not learn them faster because they are smarter. They learn them faster because someone left a tab open or told them directly, or they asked a question that felt embarrassing and turned out to be the question that changed the number. The first paycheck is not the lie. The lie is that the paycheck tells you what you are worth. It does not. It tells you what they offered and what you accepted and what the structure took before it reached your account. What you are worth is a different number. It is negotiated, it is researched, it is updated every 2 to 3 years against a market that does not wait for your annual review to move. $38,000, that is where this started. It does not have to be where it stays. The question is, how quickly you learn the rules of the game you are already inside.